Welcome to 3 essential tips for every herbivore currently in the game. Starting off, Tenontosaurus. Difference of kick and claw. 2 alt attacks deal enough damage to make up for 1 kick. They come out very quickly and deal immense bleed. The only difference is that kick applies a stagger animation, but alt attacks are easier to aim. Also, tail and kick attacks both grant you some stability, so Carnos are unable to charge you during these. Appreciate water. Tenno is one of the fastest trotters, also one of the fastest swimmers. If you are ever in a situation where you're getting chased by something stronger and faster than you, where you cannot fight back, and if you see that there's water nearby, swim across immediately. And once they're done swimming after you, swim across again, and then do it again. Chances are, they will very likely run out of stamina before you do, and they will never catch you. Know your rocks. A lot of Tennos forget that they have an ability that counters most dinosaurs in this game: jumping. While yes, the jump height might be small, but if you're running downhill, you can actually gather up quite a decent jump height to hop on an unreachable rock, where carnivores like Carno, Sarah, Aloe will struggle following. Moving on. Diabloceratops. Keep it calm and professional. It is suggested that you don't use your alt attacks if you're fighting anything bigger than Omni or Dilo. Your sliding should be enough to keep dinosaurs away from your backside. Focus on using your running attack. It can stagger creatures up to double your weight. Spar slide control. Dibbles usually get out of spar mode to slide easier. However, you don't need this at all. In order to initiate a slide in a spar mode, all you have to do is let go of the movement key while you turn in your direction. However, don't completely forget about being out of spar mode. It allows for you to throw alt attacks. Also, if you want to stop without sliding while in spar mode, instead of just holding S, hold either right or left movement key and stop with your mouse turning. Difference of spar hits. While you are sparring, your regular headbutts get replaced with a sparring headbutt. This consumes your spar charges before it starts consuming stamina. And whilst using spar headbutts, you deal almost 30% more damage, but you get locked in place for a short time, and no longer deal bleed. So, change your attacks depending on what you need at the time. Moving on. Pachycephalosaurus. Fracture limits. Adult Patches can fracture up to 3 times their weight, meaning adults can bone break 2.1 tons, and primes can bone break almost 3 tons. Don't even try fighting pinners like Aloe and Rex. You will hit them with bone break, and your self-stun will give them an opportunity to pin you. For example, if it's a 50% grown Rex, and if you try to headbutt them, they can stun you right after and then pin you. But if you give them a leg fracture before they can headbutt you, you can actually kill them. Instant headbutts. Using a quick headbutt tap is not as bad as people make it to be, especially against smaller dinosaurs like Troodon, Omni, Dilo. Charging the headbutt fully can be difficult to land sometimes, since you have to face your target and have only a brief window to strike. Not to mention, if you run out of time, there's a short cooldown until you can headbutt again. Also, charging up your headbutt signals your intent to attack. The tap may deal less damage and fracture, however, it's lower risk and can help you become more unpredictable. Use your jump. Patchy's jump is almost as good as Omni's. It is recommended that you utilize your jump to get away from predators that are unable to reach those places, such as Ceratos, Aloes, and Carnos. Even against Omnis, getting high up will make it extremely difficult for them, because they cannot get a free pounce on you, considering you can defend your ground and push them back down. Moving on, Stegosaurus. Ignore baits. Do not fall for power swing baits. Sometimes, it's better to let the predator get a hit in and increase their courage, rather than constantly falling for swing baits. You make their fight a lot more difficult because you become unpredictable for them. Make sure you have tactile endurance, so that you consume some of your health to gain a few extra power swings. It is better for you to make the fight unpredictable than completely wasting all of your stamina and having to rely on alt attacks. Power Swing Guide. Sprinting and power swinging will cause you to do this massive attack. This is your strongest attack in your kit. However, few things you must know: you cannot initiate this attack if you're not at full acceleration. And while turning, Stegos lose speed. So, if a creature constantly turns around you, you will not have the speed to pull out this running power swing. Also, important knowledge is that whichever side of the Stego your camera is facing, the opposite direction your running power swing will turn you. Use the terrain. Never expose your front end. If you can, walk towards trees or rocks to use your terrain to your advantage. Making your head basically armored with terrain is a lot better than having to turn to defend yourself, especially when you're facing multiple targets at once. Also, keep in mind, unlike regular dinosaurs, you take double damage to your head rather than only 50% increased damage. Moving on. Triceratops. Sparring tactics. When initiating spar mode with a Rex, you can spam the spar toggling button to instantly get out before the Rex is able to flick you to the side. And against other ceratopsians like Trike versus Trike, whoever starts sparring is at a disadvantage, because they get more of a cooldown before they can flip, whereas the Trike that got pulled into the spar can instantly trigger it. The knockdown cooldown. If you are trying to knock something down, after initiating a knockdown headbutt, doing another knockdown headbutt will cause it to be a regular attack. There's about a 1.5 second cooldown on the knockdown headbutt, so if you wait just a little longer, you can do knockdown headbutts faster. Sparring toggle combo. Your sparring headbutt locks you in a place and has a really slow attack speed. So, what you want to do is, quickly go out of spar mode, do your regular attack, and quickly go back in spar mode. Repeat these so that you don't get locked in position while sparring. Moving on. Maiasaura. Faster drift. Don't slide in bipedal. Instead, if you want to turn around faster, press space to enter quadrupedal right when you start drifting. And then when you're done, press space again to go back to bipedal for its speed. All attacks have value. Most players focus entirely on the stomp, which is done by holding left click. However, being in quadrupedal, you can do smaller stomps for medium damage, side alt attack for very quick damage, and back kick can stun up to 7 tons. And also, even though it's straight up a back kick, it's still directional. While you're running, you don't have to shove in a specific direction. Facing straight forward will deal more stun. Acceleration trick. You move fast as bipedal, however you accelerate slow. It is recommended that you run short distance with quadrupedal to immediately bump up your acceleration and then go back on bipedal. You will still accelerate, but it will be much quicker since most of it is done by quadrupedal already. I recommend you do this every time you have to quickly adjust your turning. Moving on. Hypsilophodon. Open diet space. You can open some space for full diets to grow your fast-growing Hypsi grow even faster. Just spit a bunch of times, it will get rid of stomach space without getting rid of diets, and if you maximize diets, you can grow in about like 6 minutes. Stamina efficient climbing. Hypsi gains a big portion of its stamina back after each hop. However, you must hop slowly for this. After finishing each hop, there will be a slight delay until you get your stamina back. Spit them down. As Hypsi, you can spit on creatures that are latched on trees, such as Hereras or Pteranodons, to knock them down. However, keep in mind that if one of them reacts fast enough, the Herera can reattach to the tree and the Pteranodon could just start flying again. You have to catch them off guard. Moving on. Dryosaurus. A kickboxing Dryo. Your forward alt attack is a double kick that deals 60 whole damage. This is almost the same damage as a raptor bite, and it can instantly kill Troodons. However, keep in mind, it does lock you in place for a little bit, so it's best to use it against Troodons or something small enough to not be able to kill you in one hit or one combo. Also, if the Troodon is prime, they survive with like 1% health. Dodge tutorial. I see lots of players not knowing what dodge does or when to use it. Dodge allows you to go from 0% to 100% speed and switch directions instantly. You can dodge out of the way of a Dino Lunge or Carno Charge, since even if you are standing still, you can instantly be much further away with the press of a click. Counter your predators. Your speed is the same with Troodon and Herrera, but it's faster than most creatures. Dilo, Carno, and small Subrex can catch you. However, they all have really bad turn radius, so you can abuse that with your dodge. Keep in mind, for Omni, it's a different game. Most Omnis will likely try to pounce you for an easy pin. However, pounce cost stamina, and if you constantly cause them to pounce and dodge them, they will most definitely run out of stamina before you do. Moving on. Gallimimus. Burrow technique. Burrows spawn around galleys that they can smell out and dig up to eat the critter inside. However, if you want to skip the whole chasing scene, there is a trick. Slow walk up to the burrow with Z and carefully line up your peck to be right in the middle part of the burrow. After you start digging, spam right click to peck. As soon as you are able to, you will peck and kill the critter without having to chase it. Keep in mind, some of the burrows can spawn undergrass and make you graze instead of digging. Just avoid these, don't waste time on them. Walk away and wait for another one to spawn. Know all the buffs. Galleys get a 6% boost for each diet they have. You can also gain a huge speed boost by F-calling near other galleys. You can tell you got the speed boost when you hear the honking. The speed boost also works with one call, however it's louder while being the same distance and speed, so preferably you'd want to F-call. Amazing air control. For some reason, galleys have one of the best air control as a non-flyer. Probably has something to do with the fact that they are the fastest trotters in the game, but you can tell if you are standing still and you jump and give it a movement direction in the air, it accelerates slow but goes that direction very fast. You can use this while climbing obstacles like complicated branches or rocks to get up on it easier without failure. This will be helpful especially if you're climbing in an emergency while being chased, because if you fall, there is no retrying. Moving on. Beipiaosaurus. Burrows growth requirement. Beppies can dig burrows underneath the water. However, most players don't know that you can only do this past second mutation. So, you won't get that free food source until you survive at least halfway. But worry not. You can either decide to eat the fish, you can decide to eat at patrol zones, or natural plant spawning areas like Delta. You can also just choose to go to a sanctuary. These options should feed you until second mutation, and then you can start eating crabs from there on. Difference of crab and fish. If you're ever in a group, you can have other Beppies bring fish to you. Even if you're small enough to not be able to swallow it, you can eat it on the ground. However, for some reason you can't do this with crabs. Crabs can only be consumed through swallowing, and if you're small enough to not be able to swallow it, you won't be able to eat it at all. Face the pouncers. If you're ever in a situation where you have to fight pouncers of your similar size, and you think they are big enough to pin you, never face away from them. If they pin you while you're looking at them, you will fight back in the pin and possibly kill them, but if you're facing away, you will not fight back and most likely die. That was 3 tips for every herbivore. Master these and you'll be better than survival than everyone else. Most of the time. I suggest you join my Discord in the description below. If you subscribe, you'd be motivating me to make more videos like this. Have a lovely day.